Well, Kari Lake entrapped the chair of the Arizona Republican Party, caught him trying to, play the messenger and offer her a bribe. He made it clear that the bribe was not coming from him, but that he knew people who could help her out, if, let's say, she wanted to step aside for the next couple of years. It really is a bizarre clip. It's all over Twitter. I'll link to one of the posts of somebody who put it up. The clip that I listened to was about 5 minutes long. It was apparently released by the Daily Mail. Almost certainly was recorded by Kari Lake herself, especially when you listen to the way she's talking. Kari Lake definitely is talking like she knows someone is listening. It kind of sounds like she's giving a little bit of a campaign speech. And so I think the guy who she was talking to probably knew that he was effed before the end of the conversation, because she was definitely speaking like she had an audience before her, and he was real quiet and speaking, a little bit under his breath and talking about how, now don't tell anybody of this. You didn't hear this from me, okay, Carrie? He said everything but don't shoot the messenger, and it would have been even funnier if he did say don't shoot the messenger, because that's exactly what she did. This guy came in, he offered her a bribe, and I understand. I'm not gonna pretend like this guy is blameless or like, oh, poor him, he's the messenger and he got shot. He was made the messenger because he's in on all these dirty dealings, because he knows how Washington is, and whoever it was that wanted to pay off Kari Lake trusted this guy and said, hey, listen, you can go in and pretend to be her friend. You have some rapport with her from when she was running for governor, presumably. And so you can go in and just present our offer to her, plant the idea in her head. She doesn't need to say yes today. She doesn't need to say yes tomorrow, as long as eventually she comes to the right conclusion. And so I think Kari Lake probably had a good idea about what this meeting was about before she went to it. It sounds like they're eating, so maybe some kind of lunch, business lunch, or and otherwise it just means that she records all of her conversations like Richard Nixon style, which would probably be a little weird. I don't think she wants people to think that, because otherwise, be hard to trust Kari Lake. This is always a risky thing, just like with when Steven Crowder did it, when he released private conversations between him and Jeremy Boring that he had recorded. It is kind of something that, once you secretly record someone and then post it online for clout, in the future, you're not going to have you're going to have people who think twice before telling you anything that they don't want being broadcast on the internet. And some of you might say, well, good, transparency. It's like, oh, okay, well, yeah, I don't just mean, obviously in Kari Lake's case, this is good. And arguably in Steven Crowder's case, you don't want these public figures saying, doing dirty deals behind the public's backs and thinking that they can get away with it. So this is a good thing, but I'm just saying, from Kari Lake personally, other people in other contexts beyond just political bribery and corruption, I might think twice before telling Kari Lake something in confidence that is private about myself. But that's neither here nor there. The reality is she recorded the conversation. I don't know if she's publicly acknowledged that it was her, but obviously it was her. She must have had some idea going into this meeting that she was going to be offered some kind of dirty deal, some kind of bribe. And I have to say, at first, it sounds so bad, and just so perfect. Like it made me think for a second, like, gee, is this guy in on it? I mean, did him and Kari Lake cook this up? And then I thought, well, no, that doesn't really make sense, because why would this guy torch his own reputation for Kari Lake, to fake something like this? Because really, just all it does is make him look bad. It doesn't really accomplish much else. But I mean, it's that sinister, right? You know, he asks her, and he's being real mealy-mouthed about it. You can tell he's nervous, and he knows that he's up to no good. And he says, like, well, maybe if there was, you know, some kind of number, and she says, at which I could be bought. You know, I mean, it is straight out of a movie. It's a textbook bribery scene. You know, and Kari Lake confidently turns him down. She doesn't think about it for a second. You know, she waxes poetic about how, you know, no, I can't sell myself out because this is the future of our country that's at stake, and you know, blah blah blah. You know, very noble stuff. But again, you know, she's the one who knows that this is going to be released. So, and honestly, if I were her, I would have tried to, I don't know, play into what he was saying a little bit more. You know, even though I knew I was going to be recorded, I would try and make it sound like, you know, I was being as genuine as possible. You know, and maybe see what I can get out of the guy, because you know, the way that she went through it, to me, if I were him in that situation, it would have been obvious immediately that she was recording the conversation, and I would have said, "Oh, okay, I see what we're doing here," and I would shut my mouth. You know, and maybe because this guy's stupid or because he was nervous, you know, he kept talking. But I think if she had tried to pry at him a little bit, she could have gotten some more out of him. You know, maybe she could have massaged a name out of him, because he won't name who is making this offer. He just says, you know, hey, a little birdie told me that so you could be a very, very rich woman if you just take a break for a couple years from politics. You know, just, you know, relax, or maybe you know, maybe become a talking head or something like that. And actually, it sounded very similar to a story that I've heard, that I don't really believe, about Ron DeSantis, which was that Ron DeSantis was made the offer. Well, gee, Ron, you know, if you do run for president, here Kari Lake is being made an offer not to run for, in this case, Senate. But DeSantis, you know, I've heard was offered, if you do run for president, we'll make you a very, very rich man, and you won't have to work for the rest of your life. You know, just run against Trump, you know, for some reason, even though you're going to lose, and you're not really going to hurt him at all in a general election by running against him in a primary. But for some reason, we really sinister people, we're going to bribe you to run against Trump in a fruitless thing that, even though we know it'll destroy your career, and in the future you will be unelectable, you won't be able to get elected dog catcher for standing against Mr. Trump. But you know, we want you to run against him now, you know, just for yucks, I guess, so bad that we're going to bribe you to do it. And so here, Kari Lake is being bribed for the opposite reason, because they don't want her to run, at least in this cycle. And so, as far as I'm concerned, this does sound real. But I don't really understand the connections that she makes in the recording, because she says to the guy, she says, "This is about Trump, isn't it?" You know, because everything's about Trump. They don't want him to win. That's why they want me to not run for Senate, because I don't really get it. Kari Lake is saying, now maybe, again, she would be more well-informed on this topic than I am, but she is making the case that by her, let's say, taking a job as a political pundit or something, and not running for Senate, that somehow that will make Trump less likely to win in this coming November, presumably in the state of Arizona, which is an important swing state. And she seems to think that if she is not running for Senate, that it will be easier for the powers that be to steal the election in Arizona. I don't know what to say about all that, but it is pretty wild to get a recording on tape of a politician, in this case Kari Lake, being offered a bribe by the head of the Arizona Republican Party in order for her to essentially forfeit the race. That is, you know, that's the stuff of conspiracy theories. Even though everyone knows that that sort of thing goes on, it really makes a difference to hear it. And so I guess I'll say thank you, Kari Lake, for recording this and for putting it out there. It does help get your name, I guess, back out there too. That's a positive. If you are going to run for Senate, this is a good thing to get yourself on TV and maybe, could jumpstart some interest. I guess she's running for Senate. I didn't know that. Or who knows, maybe she's not running for Senate anyway, and she released this tape and then didn't get the money, and so, that would make her look really genuine. If she wasn't going to run for Senate anyway, and she still didn't accept the bribe, and she exposed these people for offering her the bribe, that'd be pretty cool. But anyway, I do hope she's running, because I think that there are so many worse people, especially in the U.S. Senate. Kari Lake is not my favorite person in the world. I think that she can be a bit tiresome. But generally speaking, her heart is in the right place, which is more than I can say for almost anyone in Washington. There are very few of those people. So with that said, I will see you folks back here in the next one.